We are live from AWS reInvent. My name is Anoop Shivadas. I'll be your host today.
And I'm Stephen Heverin. I'll be your co-host for today. We're regular hosts on our weekly series, Repost Live, here on Twitch. So what are we going to look at right now?
Yeah, so we have a lot of exciting announcement today during the keynote from our CEO, Matt Garman. We don't have all the time to cover all the announcements, but we're going to dive deep into a few. Let's dive in.
Yeah. So as we said, Matt made a lot of announcements today, exciting new launches. So we've got a lot of questions already from our repost.aws community, and we're going to cover topics from Aurora, DynamoDB, SageMaker, and Amazon Nova. We picked these topics because these are the questions that we're getting from our repost.aws user community and the things that they want to know about. We have a poll. If you caught his keynote today, let us know which announcement you are most excited about using. And first up, we have is Aurora DSQL.
Yeah.
What's this launch about?
Yeah, absolutely. So DSQL is great, right? So it's a hard engineering problem, if you will, when it comes to databases, right? So if customers are looking for a multi-region database which is active, and across different regions with strong consistency, that's what DSQL is all about.
Yeah. So our first question comes from CyberSage32. Is DSQL a new service with DynamoDB or something else entirely?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I see at Repost, we have our expert Brett Ski already answered it, and I agree with his answer as well. So to summarize, right, DSQL is not part of DynamoDB, right? So DSQL is all about a relational engine, if you will, right? So if customers are looking for a relational engine, DSQL is there, right? So if you are looking for like a strong consistency across multi-regions, that's where DSQL come into play. DynamoDB, on the other hand, if you're looking for a very simple key value store, right, that's when you look for DynamoDB, right? So it's not part of DynamoDB per se, it's a relational engine.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah.
Moving in, well, like I said, we got a lot to cover today. Ryan356 has the question from our Repost users. What is the impact of latency on DSQL?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So I love that people have started asking about latency impacts and whatnot. And Matt explained that a little bit during the keynote as well, right? So in an essence, right, we cannot beat speed of light. That's pretty important, right? But with DSQL, we have done many innovations within our transaction engine, if you will, right? So with those innovations we have within the transaction engine, we kept the latency minimum, right? So as DSQL expands the region availability, ideally you should pick a region which is pretty much close to you, right, when it comes to two regions. Mm-hmm. But if again, with the innovations we have on the transaction engine, that latency is pretty minimal.
Awesome. And if you want to know more, tune into Werner Vogel's keynote on Thursday, where he's going to dive deep into the technical framework of this new service. I know I'm going to be tuning in for that. Yep. So continuing to move on, we heard the announcement from Matt about DynamoDB, global tables with multi-region consistency.
Yeah.
Seems very similar technology to what we just discussed with Aurora.
Yeah.
So we have user Shrikant asking the question, I've been in IT for years, and this is a hard challenge. Can customers really build applications with zero RPO?
Yeah.
I've got this question too.
All the time. Yeah, so that's a great question, right? Thank you, Srinkant, for asking that questions. And if you note Repost, right, it's already been answered by Repost Agent, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we were talking about agentic experience, right? Our agent already answered that, and I agree with this answer as well, right? So essentially, with the strong consistency offering with DynamoDB, right? Global tables was there for a long time, but with this strong consistency capability within global table, that gives you guarantee of zero RPO, right? So when customers write in one region, data will be available in another region seamlessly, strong consistency, that can guarantee that zero RPO is there for you, right?
Yeah.
So I can fully confidently say with DynamoDB, global table, strong consistency, zero RPO requirement is met now.
I'm excited for this. I used to work with a director of networking, and he would often say that, you can't go faster than the speed of light. Seems like we might have found a loophole with this one here.
Exactly, yeah.
So, let us know what you think of this capability, how it helps with your resilience with DynamoDB and Aurora use cases. So on the heels of that, and we got another question here from Instead Qualification. When should I be using DSQL versus the new Dynamo DB capability, global tables with the multi-region strong consistency? So that's the same question I have. It's like, does this change how we make our decision with these two services?
That's again a great question, right? I'm glad that we are getting these questions from our repost community here. So the fundamental constructs remains the same, right? When it comes to a NoSQL engine and a relational engine, right? So if you're looking for a very simple key value store, right? Pretty simple key value store, DynamoDB is there for you, and you should consider DynamoDB for that, right? Strong consistency is again an additional feature that you're getting, right? But from a NoSQL engine, you should pick DynamoDB. And if you have relational aspects, right? If you are really looking for SQL semantics and whatnot, you're looking for a real relational engine, you should consider DSQL. But again, it's getting more and more features like strong consistency, active, multi-region capabilities.
So really, with all the new capabilities of these two services, the same criteria, the same decisions that you want to make with when I want to use Aurora versus when I want to use DynamoDB, those decisions are still there. That's the same decisions that you want to make. Thanks for those questions. Really appreciate that. So on the heels of these other announcements, we have Amazon SageMaker Lakehouse. So what? And I've been hearing a lot about SageMaker, throughout all of this. What's this new launch about?
Yeah, so I'm super excited about SageMaker Lakehouse for sure. When Matt announced it during the keynote today, right? So you might have data in S3, for example, and you might have data in Redshift, for example, right? So with SageMaker Lakehouse, you're getting a unified access for all these data, right? And you can get access to this data in an open format as well, right? Everybody is really excited about Apache Iceberg, which is an open format, right? So with SageMaker Lakehouse, you're getting that capability with the unified data, right? And I want to also add one more thing, right? Okay. So Matt also spoke about unified studio there, right? So if you want to have that unified studio experience, you might have noticed we have multiple studios, right? We have Glue, we have SageMaker Studio. With SageMaker Unified Studio, you can also get access to SageMaker Lakehouse, right? So you get the whole suite of services in one studio experience, right?
Yeah. Right. And so with that, so you're talking, we've got a lot of different tools, a lot of different kind of views and consoles. So now I think that kind of flew under the radar, right? That we've got this unified view now with SageMaker that's kind of pulling all of these things together. So the next question we got from AWS Serious Node, and what engines support data ingestion through SageMaker Lakehouse that use DynamoDB and Aurora MySQL already? Are those currently supported? So they're asking about, what engines do we have supported with this?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So we were talking about, databases, and that's a great transition, right? So, as you mentioned, glad that you're using DynamoDB and Aurora MySQL. That's supported today when it comes to ingestion, right? So we focus on something called as zero ETL to kind of facilitate that ingestion, right? So MySQL, Aurora MySQL is supported, DynamoDB is supported, and that's not the ones which are, again, we have more, right? It's not just MySQL and DynamoDB. We have ISV services like Snowflake and ServiceNow. That's also part of the zero ETL ecosystem, which will ingest the data to Lakehouse.
Right. So we're talking Lakehouse. We've got all of these engines, all of these data sources and stuff that we can bring in, and there's probably more on the horizon there. So we've covered a lot today. We've got some more questions from our repost users. We did have that poll. Let's take a look at that poll and see what our users have said about the feature they're most excited for. We did mention that we're going to get to Amazon Nova. We just got so many questions, so much coming from our repost users and our repost community. We haven't been able to get to that today. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to push and spend time tomorrow on air when we go up to talk about more announcements. We're going to, I think, focus our time on Amazon Nova. So stay tuned for tomorrow when we're going to jump in and dive into your repost user community questions around Amazon Nova, because it's something that I'm excited for. So with that, Anup, what else you got?
I'm super excited about Nova as well. I was super excited to see Andy Jassy again on the keynote stage. We'll talk more about Nova. But till then, enjoy rest of reInvent and happy building.
Happy building.